On September 29, 1978, the world woke up with the shocking news that John Paul I died. Only 33 days of his leadership in the Catholic Church, his papacy, one of the shortest in history, left behind a question that still echoes today. What really happened that night? Hi, my name is Dr. Raúl Enad from Cadenza Medical Clinic, Ave Maria, Florida. Today I'm going to talk to you about the relevance of keeping yourself not to be angry, because anger can cause death. Today, 46 years later, we know that Pope John Paul I reportedly died of a heart attack. He had an underlying cardiovascular disease and he was high risk for heart attack. Supposedly, there was an alleged story that linked to anger after a heated argument with a cardinal. But how is it possible that this could lead to his death? In this video, we'll provide you the medical perspective and a detailed investigation to shed light on everything that happened and the events leading to this mysterious death of the smiling Pope. Albino Luciani, known as John Paul I, was born in 1912 in a small Italian village. A humble man with a smile that quickly won over the people. But behind that simplicity lay a mystery that would define his brief time as a pope. His rise to the papacy was unexpected. In August 1978, after the death of Pope Paul VI, the cardinals elected Luciani, who chose a symbolic name, John Paul I, honoring his two predecessors. Allegedly, Pope John Paul I died of a heart attack linked to anger after a heated argument with a cardinal. This case will shed light on the profound impact of emotion on physical health. His story goes, on September 28, began like on any other day. He celebrated Mass at dawn, he had meetings, he had lunch with his secretaries, but that afternoon something changed. At 5 p.m., he met with Cardinal Villot. At 9 p.m., he made a phone call to a friend in Milan speaking about death. Shortly after, he requested his usual medication and retired to bed. While in the right television version of the movie of John Paul I, he was depicted as somebody who had chest pains before he retired to bed. In a study reported by Elizabeth Motzkowski et al., entitled Outbursts of Anger as a Trigger for Acute Cardiovascular Events, a systematic review and meta-analysis, they reported that short-term psychological stress, including anger, has an immediate physiological response and may be associated with transiently higher risk of cardiovascular events. They further reported that there is a higher rate of cardiovascular events in the 2-hour window following outbursts of anger. Remember, the Pope had a heated argument 2 hours before his reported death. So how does anger affect your health? There are mechanisms that have been attributed. Number one would be there's an increase in inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein, interleukin 1, 6, or tumor necrosis factor. What is the significance? It increases the viscosity or the stickiness of these platelets and causes all these events leading to atheroma or blood clot that would clog the coronary arteries that supplies the heart. There's also a report that would say that when you have acute negative emotions, an outburst of negative emotion, there is a reported crystallization of cholesterol plaques that pokes the plaque, already unstable from a different mechanism, that allows exit of these substances that are inflammatory and immediately causes atheroma and clot. Another paper would report that there are acute damages in the blood vessel lining, which reduce the ability of the blood vessel or endovascular endothelium to function properly. As a result, there will be a vulnerability of the plaque that is hidden behind that to exit and be present in the lumen of the coronary arteries. The fourth mechanism is very important, a sympathetic overdrive when you're angry. It is fight-flight. When you have sympathetic response, the first response is to increase your cortisol level. An acute response, it is a matter of survival. It increases your blood sugar to help you think, to help your muscle work and move away from the predator. But when it's chronically stimulated, that can provoke inflammation. Opposite to that is a parasympathetic tone, which is to relax, to rest and digest. Just visually process the process of the events leading to the heart attack. You have an angry emotional state. That releases cortisol, the stress hormone. That triggers increase in norepinephrine and epinephrine. That will increase your propensity to have arrhythmia or irregular heart rate and increase blood pressure. Underlying this, there's an increased inflammation that creates plaque instability within the endovascular endothelium, already damaged in this function, that makes the plaque already building up in the endothelium to get released and form atheroma or blood clot that can clog up the lumen of the coronary arteries that supplies the heart. According to Father Charles Theodore Moore, in his YouTube videos, he's a Vatican insider, so he knows what it is that had happened. The Holy Pope had an argument with a cardinal whom he summoned to discuss about very sensitive matters. Pope John Paul I died about 2 hours after the reported incident of having heated argument with the cardinal. Anger could be the cause of the Pope's death. Many studies also have shown that anger can provoke even the indicators of glycemic control. So when you have increased glucose, as I said, this amplifies and fuels inflammation. So how do you heal the effects of anger? The most effective way is meditation. There are different types of meditation, and I am going to dwell on the Christian meditation, specifically the Catholic meditation. There are two elements of meditations: guided breathing, where you guide yourself to breathe slow and deep, and mindfulness. The effects of anger is healed with meditation. It balances the autonomic nervous system. It switches the sympathetic overtone to the parasympathetic tone, such that there will be less inflammation and there will be more time to rest and digest. It reduces inflammation. It calms the brain. When you meditate, these neurotransmitters increases: GABA, taurine, melatonin, serotonin. These are the neurotransmitters you need to calm the brain. Take, for example, melatonin, which is a super antioxidant. All these together are increased when you meditate. The neurotransmitters like epinephrine and norepinephrine are decreased. As a result, your blood pressure goes down. And since the cortisol level also decreases, your blood sugar goes down. It improves the heart rate variability, which is indirectly the measure of the autonomic nervous system. Profoundly, meditation improves immune function to help you combat infection and cancer. Meditation, especially meditating on the unconditional love of Jesus for humanity through his passion, helps spiritual growth. According to Saint Teresa of Avila, you don't need to be pushed to hell by the devil. If you meditate, you will stay away from hell. According to Saint Alfonso Liguori, if you don't meditate and just continue to do vocal prayers, you will be tempted and tempted until you sin. Saint Josemaria would say, if you want to follow Christ, you have to know his passion. So why meditate in front of the Blessed Sacrament? The Blessed Sacrament, Jesus is real. He's in person. In the book Insinu Jesu, Jesus told the monk, in the Blessed Sacrament, you see my suffering face. When you see my suffering face in the Blessed Sacrament, you see the face of my mother. They are united in sorrow. They're waiting for you. When you meditate, you heal your mind, body, and soul. For the next video, I will talk to you about a story of a woman who almost died of an illness that she suffered for many years. I will share the recovery process that perhaps would inspire you. If you stick with us till the end of the video, and if you find this video inspiring and helpful with your health, please subscribe, like, drop a comment, and help other people to be aware of this approach of managing health, where medicine converges with faith, especially the Catholic faith.